The following content contains personal experiences of our hosts and guests. We are not experts in this matter. We encourage challenging conversations with others and to achieve healing from our childhood. We hope to connect and allow a safe space to have an open discussion. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a qualified professional, diagnosis, or treatment.
Well, this is a special month other than
Mm-hmm.
all the birthdays that's happening this month.
Yeah.
But happy Filipino American History Month.
Woo! Waving the flag.
Woo! Phil Am.
For
What?
Philippines.
Woo! Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of First Generation Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tiffany Christie,
And Nina Flores.
and we're here back in Spotify Studios in beautiful downtown Los Angeles Arts District. I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked to bring our guests. One of the funniest people I know, and with the best fashion sense, and someone who I call my cousin, even though we're not blood cousins. We'll get into that. Monica!
Hello.
Welcome to the pod, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you to my cousin, who's not my cousin, but I call my cousin.
Yes. Yes. Have you met her? Have you met Monica?
You have now,
And you'll know more.
and you'll know more.
If you haven't met her yet, Monica is here gracing us with her presence. So stoked to get into this conversation. This episode, we're going to talk about a little bit more of our chosen family. And I've known Monica all my life, hence we call each other cousins. But we were fortunate enough, at least on our dad's side, we're all bonded since the whole entire how do I word this? Do you want to take this part?
Sure.
Because I know I feel like you have a better background than I do, other than what I know.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So obviously our dads, they were in the Philippines. They went to the University of the Philippines. They were part of a engineer frat club. I call them. Am I allowed to curse?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Let's
We
please.
call
do
them
it.
like the frat boys, like the fuck boys of the university, like the smart fuck boys. And so my dad was the president of the frat,
Mhm.
and your dad was like, I think he was the treasurer of the frat. And so just all of them went to college with each other, became best friends, and then when they immigrated to the States, basically all came to California, Southern California to be exact, most of them, and chosen family, community. So people like them, they went to college with each other, they're best friends. They're so much best friends that your dad's actually my godfather.
Yes.
So yeah, chosen family, and then we would see each other at family parties. I think growing up we were kind of confused why you weren't actually my cousin, because it's just like they look like me. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
I see them every holiday, every
was-
birthday, things like that. And so I think we were a little awkward at first. We were just kind of like navigating through it, and then you're growing up, you're kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Um, and then I just remember being at my house one day. And we're like awkward teenagers going through puberty. And then, of course, the girls, I think, all just got along. It's easier. You play with Barbies or whatever, and the
Yeah.
guys play video games. And then one day we're just kind of like, you know what? Like, we see each other so often. Like, let's get to know each other. Let's be friends, like best friends or like cousins. And I just remember that day being so, like, confused, like just making sure, like, okay, wait, how do you spell Tiffany? How do you spell Monica? Like,
Yeah.
Carlo, we didn't know if it was Carlo or Carlos.
Yep. Yep. Totally.
Which is it? I still don't know.
It is in fact Carlo.
Carlo.
Okay, Carlo.
Shout out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Shout
Carlo.
out.
Yeah.
Crazy 8.
Exactly. I'm the younger of the bunch. I feel like there's like three
3 tiers.
tiers, and so there's like the oldest, and then I think you're part of like the middle oldest.
Well,
technically.
how I broke it down.
Oh yeah. Okay, go ahead.
How I broke it down was like the oldest sibling
Yeah.
would be on that older
Older.
tier,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes down from there.
Mm.
Right.
But yeah, the elders,
The elders.
we call
yeah.
the elders, and so to piggyback off that, like our dads were so close,
Mhm.
and again, like it was definitely confusing. Like I was like, wait, we're not blood,
Exactly.
we're not blood related, because we saw each other so much,
Mhm.
and at least for my dad, he didn't have a lot of family here in the States, in Southern
Mhm.
California, that I just presumed we were cousins until I guess high school, when we were like, wait a minute, we're not.
Exactly.
And to learn more of the background, like they were part of a frat,
Mhm.
and that's what's so beautiful about the chosen family that our parents were able to find when they immigrated out here, is that we had a very tight knit family, and all these family gatherings every holiday we would spend together, and I still miss that, because now that we've all grown up, it's hard to find the time to
Time.
connect. But yeah, at a very young age, I did recall, like at least from my experience, it was like, oh man, we gotta go to this family gathering, because we were very awkward. We were still not sure who we are, and also like who they are, and how to interact. So it was very like we were forced, right?
Exactly.
It felt like a very forced environment to be around when we were very, very young. And, everyone's birthdays, we're like, oh, we're going to this thing. And we weren't as comfortable until
Yeah, it's
high
also like
school.
our parents like didn't introduce us in like the best way.
Yeah.
They're just like, here, go play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They all hung out.
Yeah.
And then they just left the kids by themselves and just like figure it out.
Exactly.
Like there was no context.
No context, and they're just like, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Like, we're still staying around. If
Yeah,
you're
singing
tired,
karaoke.
Yeah, singing karaoke. If you're tired, just like find somewhere to sleep.
Right. Like we were babysitting each other.
Exactly.
At that point.
Yeah.
But as we grew older, it became very very natural, and it was so nice to like have that we
Mhm.
had that type of
Mhm.
relationship and growing up together, and we deemed I don't know when we started to call ourselves
Like self-proclaimed.
self-proclaimed the Sinigang
Yeah.
I felt like that was the early 2000s.
I feel like you had a big part of the naming of it, though.
I really
Really?
don't remember how, but it fit. Like we all agreed
Right?
to it. Like there was
Yeah.
no fight. We're like, we're Sinigang.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't know what a sinigang is,
Mhm.
maybe we should define that. It's actually a Filipino food. Do you know what's in it?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Soup. It's like
It's-
a tamarind.
Yeah, it's like a tamarind. Does it have calamansi in there?
It can.
You could squeeze some in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes there's fish.
sometimes
mostly
fish.
vegetables.
Yeah. So it's a clever
Shrimp.
name. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, we love the shrimp emoji.
the shrimp. The shrimp emoji gets utilized a lot in the group chat.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's such a beautiful thing that our dads were able to cultivate in our very early years.
Mhm.
And so grateful that we
That's
have
so
each
awesome.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many are we, but like just to
There's
give a
enough.
picture, give the picture of like how big of a group it was. But even the like younger
Mhm.
fraternity guys or grads, which is great because like our parents or fathers had made a foundation here.
Mhm.
They invited those from UP to come here and
Mhm.
welcome them, and got to see another set of titos
Mhm. Literally.
welcome into the chosen family, and it's nice to see that there's a connection between the motherland and bring it here to Southern California. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just us also. Like,
True.
I know my parents or someone else's grandparents or godparents. Like, it's just kind of like, I think they all just trusted each other from the beginning. I even remember, like, some of us, like, they wouldn't buy a car without the, like, approval of
like
the
a
other
blessing
one.
of
Yeah.
one of the titos.
Yeah,
Oh,
like so like my
interesting.
dad bought a BMW and then Nina's dad bought a BMW and then you just roll up to a party and we all have BMWs. things like that.
Yeah.
Well, we did shoot a lot of videos.
Oh yeah.
Thank you
but-
to you.
Yeah.
The beginning.
The beginning.
Pre YouTube.
Pre YouTube. This was VHS tapes.
Oh,
These were
man.
like I don't know where to. I burned them onto a DVD. I burned.
You made copies, and I have a copy somewhere.
Oh my
I
God.
definitely do.
Oh my god. Yeah. Talk about home videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime we would gather and we were bored because like what we pre-internet.
Mm-hmm.
What else are we supposed to do? Yeah. Had the camcorder and we just shot shit.
Exactly.
Shot shit.
Well, also we were like grouped in someone's like bedroom.
yeah.
So there's like 16 of us, like
Fitting in one.
just fitting in
space.
one kid's bedroom. And at one point, you definitely were like, okay, so we need to like leave the premises at one point and do something. And they would be so confused what we were doing, but it was so fun.
Sometimes they don't even know that we were doing things.
It's true.
They're like, "Where are the kids? Who cares?"
Mhm.
Yeah, but so much fun, and especially for the holidays, we just make music videos. Nina, you were in one of the
I was
fun
the-
ones with Green Day Boulevard, Broken Dreams.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. The angry Asian mom.
Yeah,
I was like only 20 years old when I had to do that one, but played it off very well because I had an angry Asian mom.
there you go. Hit some great,
I love that.
great points
I'm gonna watch
of
that
our
one.
struggle.
Yeah, but you were at
Adolescence.
family parties too. That's how I met you as well.
Yeah, I came into the Cinegang a little late because I moved out here in LA, when I was 18. But I would visit like every summer, so I would see you guys. Like, I mean, I remember you, you guys when
too.
you were little. So, yeah, it's kind of cool that we're still all connected. So, yeah, super fun.
Yes. The tight crew. But Monica, I know you graduated from FIDM, Fashion Institute.
Of design
Of-
and merchandising.
Yes.
Love that.
And I was curious to know, because I feel like basically like first generation to do that, like to be in fashion, styling, and all that. How was that growing up? If you don't mind
Yeah.
sharing.
So I actually learned like, so my grandma passed when I was like 12, 13.
Oh, I remember Lola.
Yeah, Lola, my dad's mom. So my dad grew up in Manila, and my grandma was actually like the town like seamstress.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
So growing up, she had like the old school like sewing machine and like bodice, and she would like hem things for people, or like especially my dad, press them. So I didn't know that. I just thought she was really good at like, taking care of clothes and things like that. And she was actually the fashionable one that inspired me. And then they were like, actually, did you know your grandma actually was like the local seamstress? Like she would make like the dresses and things and tailor people's clothes. And I was like, so that's where I get it from. And it's actually
I
funny.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's actually funny when you look at like an old photo of her. It's like me in like 20 or something. It's just like a time kind
Wow.
of like, what is it? Time loop or whatever. I look like a variant.
Yeah, you're very young grandma. Of your Lola.
Yeah, my Lola. So yeah, that was like a big inspiration. Unfortunately, she passed away before she could see everything, but I think just in high school, things like on MTV, like I think it was like MySpace era, pre Pinterest. I got really into fashion with my school friends and just being inspired. I think it was like the show The Hills.
Oh my
Lauren
gosh.
Conrad and Teen Vogue and
Yeah.
things like that inspired me. And then just all my friends were always just like, you have a knack for fashion. Like I was also really into pop culture. It's kind of how me and my sister connected, my oldest sister. So yeah, it was just kind of like an outlet of creativity. I've always been super drawn to creativity, just like
Yeah.
yourself. But I was also like super smart in like math and science. So my dad wanted me to be an engineer, and then my mom wanted me to be a nurse. And so both of them are kind of like, you can do fashion once you like go to college and like you do like that type of route, especially since my brother and my sister were doing like the traditional things of my sister was doing like chemical engineering and my brother was doing like kinesiology. And so my parents were like, fashion, like, what are you going to do with fashion? I actually was like studying for the SATs, but my junior year I was actually already like set to go to FITM.
Yeah.
I was like so into it. I went to an all-girl school, so we had to wear uniforms, and so I was just trying to like I would break like uniform rules all the time.
Add your own flair, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
yep.
I would be in like the guidance counselor office just like, how do I get to this school? Like that's what I want to do. But my parents don't understand. And the other thing, like I didn't really have anybody who was like in the industry to kind of like help me. I just knew like if I don't make it, like I can just go back to school. And I think the other thing is I didn't know what I was going to do in school. I was kind of like, what, I'm going to be an engineer or a nurse? Like, I feel like I'm always going to go back to this. So junior year, I actually had another friend. Teen Vogue was having this like design contest where you design a collection with PacSun and you have like a mentor and then you have a fashion show. And my friend won the grand prize of a scholarship for $2,000 to use for college. Or actually whatever you want, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
So my parents saw that and they were kind of like, oh, that's fun, but you have to do that on the side. And then on top of that, I was like, okay, I'll prove to you, like I'm like driven for this. So then I learned how to sew. I learned how to sketch. We had like a fashion club at school. I ran it. We had this like, it's called like Red and Gold. It's kind of like this like show that they put on. I was part of the fashion part of it, so I made all the costumes for the whole show. And then I interned at Nordstrom.
Yep.
On top of that. And so my parents were like, you're like obsessed with it. I was also part of musical theater. So I did like costume. I learned how to do makeup. They're like, you are driven. Like, you are obsessed. But like, they still weren't into it. And so the following year, my senior year, again, like as I'm studying for the SATs, I applied for that like Teen Vogue contest. Same thing, mentorship. It's like a little job interview. You have to go in. You have to have a headshot, like sketches. It takes a whole year. Yeah, portfolio. A whole year to make a collection, and then you have a full-on fashion show at the Avalon in Hollywood.
Oh wow,
that's
It
awesome.
was super cool. It was when like Twilight was like still a big thing.
Okay.
So like a bunch of like Twilight stars came, like B-list stars came, celebrities. Yeah, I had a fashion show. You texted in what design you wanted to win. All my friends and family came out. I really had to like market myself. I ended up winning, so I got $5,000
Amazing.
towards college. Yeah, and then I was in Teen Vogue magazine. When like magazine was still being in print.
A print.
That's so
R.I.P.
cool.
Yeah.
How'd your parents did they say, okay, now I'm like, okay, did they give you, did you get the blessing, or is it still
So it was
still struggle?
It
Yeah.
was still like,
It was like you
that's
could go
great,
to,
but this is like something to do on the side.
exactly. It was like you can go to USC and then like intern at like a fashion retail store, and I was like, okay, you still don't get it. Like that's crazy. I think they just started to realize a lot of my safety schools that I applied to. I was like, we visited schools like San Francisco. I even thought about going to community college, and then thankfully one of my cousins, he's actually like a top chef for Hyatt, and the same thing, like his parents didn't approve what he was doing, and then he dropped out and he was like, I'm gonna be a chef. I'm gonna go to culinary school. And I think he was like in the midst of it, and he called my mom and he was like, no one's gonna stand up for her, but I will. He was kind of like, your two other kids, they don't have the passion that she has, so she can always go back to school, but like from me and my mom and our relationship, they were kind of like, this is a once in a lifetime chance. Like you kind of have to like let her do her thing. Yeah, he vouched for me, which is
so
kind of
good.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I even had like a PowerPoint like set up and everything to like convince them to go for me to go to FITM.
Yeah.
And I even had like a friend that I was like, oh, we can carpool. Like, we're not going to dorm together, but we can carpool together and go out with each other. So, yeah, I think his talk with my parents kind of swayed them.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, and I even got, like, I had an interview with the school, and they gave me more money, like, for a scholarship because they saw so much potential in me.
Nice.
And
I
so
love
that kind of convinced my parents, like, okay, wow, like, you're getting all these opportunities, and you're, like, our most, like, self-sufficient, independent kid.
Yeah.
So just go for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
And you
Yeah.
do it, you did it, and,
And I
you're
did
doing
it.
it.
And I'm still doing it.
Still doing it.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Love that. Good for that cousin that vouched and
Seriously.
advocated
Yeah.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they need that little push from not your own daughter,
Right.
but
yeah.
from someone else from the outside to
Mhm.
like push the parents and convince them, if
Exactly.
you will.
Exactly.
But you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it,
Yeah.
You're
girl.
doing it. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thanks.
Yeah. But I just felt like what resonated with me is like that struggle of like, because I had a lot of hobbies too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always like, no, you're going to go to school for this, you're going to do pre-med, you're going to be a doctor,
Right.
and all this other stuff, the artistic stuff. But you can still do that on the side, but you got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for me, I now later in my life, and I'm running like 2 businesses right now,
Mhm.
and I'm building an enterprise. And it's like, finally, my mom is like, okay, this is great. Like, I totally support you. This is like what you should be doing. But I had to go through all of that first in order for her to accept that, it sounds like for you it was a lot quicker in your life. I mean, I'm almost
Yeah.
gonna be 40, so I think that's awesome. And like, how did that made you feel? Like, I mean, obviously probably happy and relieved, but did that change your relationship with your parents? Like, I mean, are they, or is it, or there's still little things where they're like, well, Monica, maybe you could go back to school for this, or are they just fully like, hey, you're doing it, we support you?
So I didn't realize that my cousin actually like told them.
Oh.
So that was like later told to me, which I was surprised about
Mm.
because it was like a sudden shift. They were like,
Right.
"Yeah, you're gonna do it. Like you're going to fit them." Like I think the other thing is like a lot of my peers in high school, like a lot of people didn't go to the schools they wanted. A lot of them went to community college, and they didn't really know what they were doing. And I think they suddenly saw the light, like, oh, like my kid like knows what she's doing. She's going to a trade school, so maybe that's better. So that was great for a little while. I think the other thing is since I'm the youngest kid, I think they were kind of like, okay, the other two we pushed a little hard, and so like the youngest, like I think it's a privilege. Like I think
I'm
they
the
were kind
youngest,
of
so
like
yeah, I know.
yeah, right. They were kind of like it's okay. Like if she doesn't like it, like she'll just go with, like community college or something else, or she has a great work ethic, she'll just get a job, like something like that.
Uh-huh.
I think where it was okay. I think they just they can't help me, and then they think LA is super dangerous, and so super protective. Like, oh, like you're commuting from home to work to school, like 10 o'clock. Like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm just getting off work, and they're like, okay, let me know when you're home. Like super protective in that way. And then they left me alone for a little while, but then I think once like my other cousins who are my age, they graduated from engineering, and then they went to like firstly like Raytheon or like Boeing, and then they're making like 6 figures, and they're buying homes, and they're having babies, and I'm not. I think that's when like the passive aggressive comments started coming around. Like, you should have done that. Or like, oh, like since you don't like this company, you're hopping around a lot, because like fashion, like we're not paid that well. I think a lot of creative industries aren't, especially with like inflation and this economy. I think again they're scared. They're like, nursing stable, engineering stable, like look at your cousin. Like I think that's where like the passive aggressive comments started to come out. And then I don't know where they got this idea of a permanent record, where they're like, you're jumping around all these jobs, and I'm like, that's quite normal for creatives.
I mean, it's normal now.
It's normal
there
now.
is no loyalty.
There's
staying
no loyalty
in one place. You don't get those pensions anymore back in the
Right.
day.
Right, exactly.
It's a
yeah.
different landscape.
Right.
In order to get more,
Exactly.
to boost your salary, you got to hop around.
Yeah.
And
Especially as an Asian woman,
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you got to fight for what you
Right.
need. And so I think when they started seeing that happening, they were starting to say passive aggressive things. I'm actually going to admit something that's like, I started going to therapy, and I'm okay with like admitting this. My dad actually didn't want me, like, so it was post grad. He didn't want me living at his house without a job. So he was trying to kick me out of the house if I didn't have a job.
Oh.
And I hated like the first job I got out of college. And so I quit the job. I had savings, but I pretended to go to work just so I wouldn't get kicked out.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just had like a
Smooth.
part-time job at like Nordstrom, like eventually, but for like 7 months, I was like pretending to go to work, living at my dad's house. Yeah.
Wait, did he find out? Should we be cutting this?
I know,
are
like,
we,
yeah, do we need to...
is this confession
No,
allowed?
it's
We're good now? Okay.
post it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
That's gangster. That's,
I-
hey,
Yeah.
he set that rule. You got to find some way.
I
I
know.
gotta find something. And I was like,
something.
okay. 7 months later, I was like, okay, found something.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I would like wake up, I would like get dressed
Dress
up.
up,
I go to
do the-
Starbucks and I'd look for a job.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just hoping he doesn't show up to that Starbucks.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Oh, I'm on a break.
I'm on a break. Don't worry about it.
Wow,
I
did
love
not
that.
know
Yeah.
Dang.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oof.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine now. I think especially since I have a partner now, and I think they're relying on that. Like, oh, she'll be okay.
Mhm.
Like, she's got it. But every now and then it would come up, like, especially now, it's like, oh, why don't you have babies? Like, you still want to be a nurse? I'm like,
Oh.
I
Yeah.
love that you stuck to your passion, though. Like, at the
Yes.
end of the day,
I admire that about you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At
Yeah.
the end of the day, you knew what you wanted, and you weren't going to mess around with anything else, you know,
Mhm.
and that's definitely admirable. And I'm glad they finally sort of recognized that to a point.
Mhm.
I was curious to know more about the dynamic, since you did list your siblings and
Mhm.
you are one of three and the youngest. Were there, how was that growing up? Were there a lot of like, oh, your brother did this or your sister did this? Like, is there a lot of like comparing each other to each other to like motivate you to do something, or?
Absolutely. Okay, so first and foremost, I am the youngest of 3, and my dad actually had me later. So I think my mom was like already in her 30s, and my dad was about to be 40 when he had me. So I've always felt like there's not only a gap between me and my siblings, but there's like a bigger gap between me and my parents. So I've always felt like not only am I an old soul, but like I was raised by an older generation. So that didn't help, in addition to like growing up in like this very like Western American way. And then, yeah, so youngest of 3. And then my sister and I went to the same high school, but she's 8 years older than me, and my brother's 7 years older than me. They're actually Irish twins, which is so funny. Like,
Oh,
my mom got
yeah.
pregnant
Like,
Yeah,
right away.
Yeah. And then so my mom's a Virgo. Like, let me just preface this. And my dad's birthday's in January. And my mom wanted all of us to be born on the same day.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's
Were they
why.
trying to...
Yeah.
Oh.
So
And
that's
she's a nurse, so
why.
she only had C-sections. So she planned it that way.
Wow.
Oh, wait, why though?
Yeah.
Do you know?
She was just like, you do it one time a year, and then I have a baby. Yes.
See,
Yes.
this is the same theory also, because like my sister and I are in July.
Mhm.
I was
It's
like,
the same thing, right?
yeah, I'm like, how did? Anyway, but
Oh.
also, I don't know. When I was becoming pregnant or trying.
Mhm.
I did check like the ovulation and all that stuff. There are certain months where you're more fertile than
Fertile,
others.
yeah.
So that's why I'm like, oh, maybe that's just the month that you're most fertile, and it's just gonna land there every time, and you land in, for you guys, October. So
October.
But so they planned it to be that way.
My
in a
mother
sense.
planned it that way.
Yeah.
My mother is
Wait, not telling your dad? She just was like, this is how it
no, like it's disgusting to know this as a 30-something-year-old, but I'm in therapy. It's okay. My dad's
We're all in
birthday
therapy.
is January 18. My birthday's October 19.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
9 months later,
Yeah.
I'm alive.
Yeah. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Always the funnest parties, though.
Yeah.
It's like a group party every time for you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
growing up,
Kind of
growing
like
up.
you. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the
It's
same
like-
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing.
July.
One and done.
Ours is
October.
summer, yours is the fall, and we all,
No, yeah,
celebrate.
I don't know if you remember, we would like, so bounce houses were like such a big thing when we were growing
in
up.
the 90s.
So I would have the morning shift, and then my sister had the afternoon shift, and then my brother got the night shift.
Oh.
All your friends had to get out of there.
Mhm,
Wow.
mhm. 3 cakes.
That is like that's
Mhm.
intense.
Yeah.
Like that's like a 24-hour like day right there of like
Mhm.
just planned stuff.
Exactly.
Did you like sharing? That's what I'm curious.
So I think since my sister and I had such a big age gap, I think, and you can tell me if this was, I feel like you and Carissa were super close growing up, but like I idolized my sister. And so like all the hand-me-downs were mine. All my brother's hand-me-downs were mine. So I kind of got like the mix of the both. So like I loved to share. I think just so my sister went to college when I was in 3rd grade. So I feel like that's where like kind of like the disconnect happened. And then I think like, and I had a cell phone when I was in 2nd grade because
Oh
my
my
sister's
gosh.
old phone. Yeah, I know. It's weird to say that, but yes, I had a Nokia brick in 2nd grade.
Nokia with
Nokia.
Snake.
So yeah, like I had an older sister, older brother, and so I think until maybe I was like in middle school, like a teenager, I started having my own things because most things were just hand-me-downs, and I didn't mind it. I think just becoming a bratty like teenager, going through puberty in high school, I started to kind of like hate it and kind of resent it in a way where I think I always felt like my sister overshadowed me in a lot of ways, where I felt like, yes, my parents were parents for the first time, but you could really tell they were parents for the first time with my sister. I think like she got to go to the college she wanted to go to. I think she's very by the book. She's very like A student. Like my parents love that. And then even going to the same high school, like they're like, "Oh, your last name's Santos. Like, is your sister Marianne?" Or like even in middle school. And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, she was so smart. Like she had the highest test scores." And they're like, "You're going into fashion." They're like, "Why don't you be an engineer like your sister?" So there's like a lot of that. And then even with my brother, it's like, "Oh, your brother's Matt," like things like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of that happened. But then I think I kind of twisted it in high school where it was like, wait, my sister's 21.
Uh-huh. Use it to
My
your
cousins are
advantage.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do remember because our birthdays are in the summertime. I do recall very, very young. I am the oldest, and so my sister's birthday lands before mine, right, in
Mhm.
July. And growing up, I think I was like maybe 5 or 6. I remember throwing like a tantrum. I was like, "How come she gets her present first?" And like all these, I was like so upset. And I'm like, "It's my birthday." And that became a little weird time for me. I was like, I didn't understand it, obviously. But then growing up older, like it was fun that we could celebrate our birthdays together. Like when she turned 21, we were able to go out and party it up. But yeah, as a very young child, I didn't understand it, and I was a little jealous that we had to like share birthdays.
You
feel like
didn't
my-
have like the morning shift and night
There
shift
was
thing?
no morning shift. It was literally 2 cakes. You had to sing happy birthday to us. But yeah.
Would
So-
you guys get like the same gift in different colors?
sometimes it's the same gift in different sizes.
Yeah.
Oh.
We
Yeah.
had that too.
Yep. So matching
Oh my gosh.
dresses.
Purses.
Yeah.
Shoes.
Remember when Sanrio was a thing, like the Sanrio
When
surprise?
did it ever leave?
Oh, yeah, true.
They just had the Hello Kitty night at Dodger Stadium.
True. But I remember we would have different characters. Like
Okay.
someone would gift us different characters
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
from
yeah.
the Sanrio set.
Yeah.
But
I feel like Carissa and I are the same.
yeah.
And then you and my sister feel the same because I'm a day before her. Right?
Mm.
So I think it was probably the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do remember, like, when I was born, my sister was very, like, because she was 8, right? So she was like, oh my God, it's my baby. Oh, and she cut off my eyelashes when I was born.
She was the one that did it?
Yeah.
We had
a podcast episode where we were talking about like our parents would do that. Like they didn't do it to me. They did it
They
to my
did it
older
to me
brother.
and Carissa.
I think it's the
Okay.
oldest that gets it. But like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
So
How
I
does
think
trusted
so-
an 8-year-old to
No, okay, so I
Wait,
think
you're-
they were trying to decide that they weren't doing it to me. And I think she got mad and she was like, well,
Oh.
she's my baby. And then she took me away and I'm pretty sure she cut my eyelashes.
Oh my gosh.
An 8-year-old with scissors.
Yeah.
Oh
Near
my
your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oof. Oof.
dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Don't have that conversation in front of your young kid then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never got the cutting of eyelashes.
It's some
Only my
some
older
Filipino
brother.
myth or
I
generational
don't
myth.
know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something with hair. There's always something with hair. Whether it's like
Long-
not cutting it,
Right.
cutting it.
Long eyelash. It didn't work for me, so clearly
These are fake.
I mean,
yeah, these are fake too.
Yeah, I
It
think
did not work.
it's a myth, guys.
It's a
It did not work.
Please don't.
Leave your child's eyelashes alone.
Mhm.
It's
But
dangerous.
you were talking about your older sister, and I think you know my brother Mark. And so it was like the same thing. He went to the school he wanted to. He's a computer engineer, has a really successful job, like did everything by the book. And it was like when it came to me, it was very like, okay, like just let her, just whatever. Like let's just try to like get her through school because I was very rebellious. But it's interesting. I'm wondering if like your older siblings, if they felt that you got the special treatment, because Mark would always be like, dude, you have it so easy because like I had to do everything by the book. And like mom and dad, they were always just very relaxed with you. And I didn't feel that way. I felt like they were still very strict with me, but he's 6 years older than me. So there is an age gap
Yeah,
as
age
well.
gap, yeah.
Like, do your siblings ever say like, oh, Monica, you have it so easy? And yeah.
Yeah, I think so. My brother stayed back, like, so he went to Cal State Fullerton for college, so he was more around, and so I felt like when my sister was at college, like my brother and I like bonded, and like that meme where it's like your older brother didn't practice like WWE tricks on you, and it shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very that, like, I became a tomboy. But yeah, like he would pick me up from school. I think when he was still in middle school with me, he was a little embarrassed of me, where he's just like I looked up to him so much. But yeah, like I think for me, I was like blessed with that, but I think it's the same thing. Like I didn't think that, but obviously, yeah, they're like, oh, you're the youngest, like you do whatever. They don't really care. You get to stay home alone with your Nokia brick, like whatever. And then they'd have to pick me up from school and like babysit me. But like, I think the other thing is once my brother and I started getting closer, I think we kind of felt like we could bond and team up, because then it became like my sister was like the shining star, and then like we weren't, because we were the rebellious ones, and she wasn't. And if she was at college. Like they didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, but like I'm at home and like God forbid, like I'm with my brother. They're like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm outside on a bike, like with my brother." Like, so we felt like that. It became like her against us a little bit.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're all M's.
Yes.
Why did
Oh,
your
that's
parents do that? Yeah, we're all
right.
M's.
Yeah, they did not follow that.
Yeah.
No.
No, even our cousins, like, so my dad's only brother, like, they followed the M. So
Oh, they chose the
like-
same letter. I thought.
Yeah. No, all M's. So Mario, Myrna, Marianne, Matthew, Monica,
Oh my
Maria, Mark,
gosh.
Michael. Yeah, Marie, Michelle.
We have a
Okay.
cousin.
Miguel,
We have family
Mateo.
like that too with X.
Zilk?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know if I can say their name, but yeah.
yeah, with the
X.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is a
Okay.
tough one to get the same name, but like
yeah.
They
That all
made it
sounds
happen.
really cool.
Yeah, they made it happen.
But like, at least I'm not Mirno.
the lady version of
The lady
female.
version where they combine. I'm like, please
Oh, no.
don't ever tell me you consider that.
No.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow, wow, wow.
I was
Too
like,
funny.
not the ship name.
That's hilarious.
Mhm.
Too good.
Too good.
What's at these parties of ours? What was like your favorite Filipino dish that had to be there?
Obviously you have to start with the lumpia
Mm-hmm.
because
Hands
Yep.
down.
okay,
For sure.
That's the like the appetizer.
Yeah,
you kind of
totally.
if you don't take one before we pray, you're lying.
Yeah. You gotta make sure it's still crispy.
Oh, yeah.
Crispy.
I just go,
crispiness.
Yeah. You didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Because we're starving.
With the sweet and sour
The
sauce.
sweet and sour
Oh,
sauce.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Lumpia. I'm on kind of an anomaly. Sorry, anomaly? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
So my sister and I, we started being vegetarians because of Lent. Like I'm on and off again, but she's very vegetarian. So like that's how I found out about like laing and
So
I
good.
forgot what it's called. It's like the pink stuff with like jackfruit,
Pink.
right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I know I don't know
Isn't that fruit salad?
No.
I was gonna say, like, that was like
The
the thing
jack-
that came out.
I don't know.
yeah.
Longing's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
The coconut,
Yes.
coconut milk, and the taro leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I
So
like it
good.
really spicy.
Oh, you like bicol
Oh,
yeah.
dang.
spicy.
Express.
Bicol express. It's extra spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dang.
Yeah, I'm a little picky. I'm not gonna lie.
So if it's not spicy enough, do you add
Do you like
sriracha?
Yeah, put, like,
Hot sauce.
It's always with rice. The rice helps.
You have to have the rice.
Yeah, I mean, unless
Can't
you're
eat
like
it
doing
plain.
keto or something.
No.
But it's okay for keto.
True.
we're not hating.
We're not
Disclaimer,
hating.
yeah,
Okay.
No hate. No hate. It's just
No, I'll eat it. I think I'll just. There's like that vinegar with like the chilies in it, or like
Yes.
the jalapeno.
yeah.
I kind of add that to it. I also
Mm.
like dinuguan.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't get there.
Oh,
with
we
you.
love denugs in our house.
Yeah.
Mm.
My brother, that's like my brother's favorite.
I can't.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
But I haven't had it in a while, so I could end up liking it.
Yeah.
Maybe at the next family party.
I think it's just because I love vinegar.
Mm.
Like it like just hits, and I
Yeah.
think I had it like that and like balut early enough where
Where
like my palate from early on like just was like very
That's fine, it's
vinegar.
it's
Yeah,
normal.
and then became normal.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it was a little weird. I would get made fun of in like middle school where they're like, "Why is your lunch black?"
So you had it for school lunches?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Dang. All right.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
no.
brave.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like my parents separated that where it's only like family gatherings. The really cultural stuff will come
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
then they try to make these Americanized like here's a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Here's a ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's a spam sandwich, which is still good. was like,
Spamwiches.
Sandwiches with egg.
Spamwiches.
I
Spam
was
and
like,
eggs.
Sure.
With the pandesal.
Yes. Oh, that's my favorite breakfast right there. You
Mhm.
named it.
Exactly.
I'm so hungry now.
I know. I know. We were
Me
talking
too.
about food earlier too, and
know.
I'm like, no, I'm like,
We'll get food.
Yeah.
We'll get food.
yeah. You do a cooking episode. That
I
would be
will say my dad did a lot of the Filipino cooking. So a lot
Mm.
of my recipes are my dad's recipes.
Okay.
So I think it's maybe the same. Like if it doesn't taste like my dad's cooking, like that type of Filipino food, I kind of tend to not really like it. Or I'll
Mm.
add more like vinegar to it
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
because it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
cook Filipino food.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's something I need to learn to do. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I got really into cooking during the pandemic.
think a lot
Gordon
of people
Ramsay,
did.
shout out.
I know we got a lot of shout outs going on here. Do you cook Filipino food?
I do chicken adobo.
Oh yeah, oh I love
Chicken
chicken adobo. I think
adobo.
that's one of my favorites actually. Yeah.
I kind of mixed the recipe though, because I had my mom's and my dad's. They had two separate ones.
Oh.
And then I found like one of my friend's dads had his own, so I kind of like meshed them together,
Oh,
and it's quite good.
Yeah.
we love
I have quail
that.
eggs in mine.
Yeah.
I add
Oh,
quail
I
eggs.
don't, but I prefer.
Mm.
It's just like when you find the hidden one, especially in like a chop suey.
Ooh, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I'm
Found
digging
it.
through,
It's
digging
like a
through
golden
the sauce.
ticket.
Like,
Easter
where's
every
that
day.
quail egg? So good.
So good.
Yeah, my dad adds ginger to his. My mom doesn't.
Mm. Okay.
So
Mhm.
depending on which way I want to go with it.
Region,
Yeah,
probably it's
maybe.
from too.
Maybe.
Mm.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
they didn't really give me a recipe. I don't know how your dad handled it. It was just like, here are the
No one measures
ingredients. Yeah, they
anything.
don't
No,
measure
it's
it.
in my
Yeah.
notes app.
Yeah.
It's very much like
It's not measured. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, just pour a little
I-
bit of this,
yeah.
this.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what are
that's
the
how
portions?
my mom cooks. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like half this, but I'm like,
Half
But how
what?
many?
Yeah, half
they're like
what?
whatever you
What,
want.
a teaspoon or
know, right?
a cup?
I'm like, what is this, a TikTok recipe? Like, there's just no like.
There's no measurement.
measurements?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm trying to. I definitely want to put like a cookbook together. I'm trying.
Yeah, that'd be
My
so
mom
cool.
has it in her like chicken scratch nurse writing
Mhm,
places.
mhm.
But yeah, I started on like a notes app, and I kind of want to make it into like a
You
That's
should.
like a Canva
That would be so
yeah.
awesome.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I can learn from that. So.
Yeah.
I want my mom to teach me, but like I think you and I talked about this. It's like it's not going to be as good as when they make it.
Yeah.
Like even though like she's probably going to show me how to do it, it's like no, but I make it.
Yeah.
The best. It's not going to be as good
Mhm.
as mine. Because
Right.
wasn't your mom was like micromanaging in the kitchen?
Oh, she
like,
was. She has her particular way, but she's not giving me measurements. So I'm like, how am I supposed
Yeah.
to
How
know?
are you supposed to know?
How am I supposed to know how much to put in there?
Yeah.
It's
You
like,
can't
oh,
get
you're
mad
doing
at
it
me.
wrong. I'm like, okay, well then what's the measurement here?
So the trick is, I've learned, I've followed. Okay, so I follow it and I write it down, but like honestly, putting a tripod and like a little
Oh,
phone
yeah.
in front of them, and you just follow that video.
Okay.
Put that up on
Okay.
YouTube, get some
Yeah.
follows and likes, and then
Exactly.
you're
See?
making
Look at that.
monetization.
Mhm.
Authentic Filipino
saying.
cooking. Here it is.
Faceless
So
content.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
you-
did.
That's how you. That's
Mhm.
that's smart.
Yeah, that is.
Instead
Mhm.
of the bickering, I was like, how much do I put
I know.
in?
It's like
There was bickering, but then that was like the third conclusion. I was like, okay, I have to find out a way to do this anyway.
Yeah, yeah. and it's good to keep that because that is gonna be
Right?
that's like a little generational like heirloom that
yeah.
you can have.
Yeah.
And this is the way
Yeah,
they
for
cooked
sure.
it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, I know for the holidays also, at least growing up for me with my Lola,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that we would do is we would do the assembly line of making lumpia. And I remember that being a little bit of a chore back then, but I'm just so grateful now that I had that experience.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to bring that down to my son too. It's just like, oh, for the holidays, let's make lumpia.
You gotta tell me that. You gotta show me that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Because my role is not like, you know that scene in Crazy Rich Asians where they're like the baby.
With
I'm
the-
like,
yeah.
I'm the one that's like, what is everyone else doing?
Yeah.
You need
Exactly.
to double
Yeah.
wrap it
Double
that's
wrap
what
it?
is. Okay.
because sometimes falls apart.
Right.
Two
I
ply,
hate
two
pulling-
ply.
I hate pulling that thing because it always rips.
Two-ply,
I'm like,
okay?
yeah.
Two ply
I'm
that
not-
egg roll lumpia
Okay.
wrapping.
Yeah, maybe
Noted.
show us.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at the technique. And then my
Yeah.
mom's like, you're doing it wrong. I'm like, okay, why don't you show me instead of yelling at me? You know? So
Yeah.
but yeah,
they're
all
not
right.
good at teaching. Like
they're
that.
not. They're good
It's
at bickering and
it's
scolding you.
scolding.
Yeah. What you did wrong.
Yeah,
What you did wrong.
There's no praise. It's like, I got an A. Where's the plus? in
Yeah,
front
where's
of
the
it?
plus?
Right, exactly. Ugh,
Where's
yeah.
the plus plus?
Where, that doesn't exist, Mom.
Yeah,
it
exact-
does in my house. A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to know how to do turon.
Oh,
same thing.
yeah.
Same thing, right?
Same thing.
It's just,
Just,
banana in there,
Mhm.
right?
The plantain,
Plantain
jackfruit,
or the
Oh,
sugar.
brown
I don't even
sugar.
know.
Mm, love it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Cooking episode.
It's the same thing as lumpia, but just
Love.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say a lot of my other cousins are very like, you're so into the culture myself. I think our family gatherings really, because you see people like who look like you, who have the same culture, values, beliefs, like things like that. So I think like that's a blessing that we have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my other cousins are like, I don't really eat Filipino food like that. Like I don't know how to make it like that. And so I think just us having each other and talking about it is really great.
It's
you know?
refreshing.
There's also children's books, like Filipino children's books, talking about like A is for adobo. Have you seen that? It's so cute.
No, how cute.
I think the other thing is, yeah, I remember having like bahay kubu at home, like when I was younger.
The nursery
The
rhymes.
nursery rhymes,
Yeah, yeah.
like that was really cool. But I do remember struggling a little bit going into school because I could tell it got confusing learning. So my parents speak different dialects. So my dad's
Oh, I didn't
know
Manila
that.
Tagalog, and then my mom's, she does speak Tagalog, but she's from Ilocos, so Ilocano. So I have two dialects, and then I'm learning English.
Okay.
So I was learning all three at the same time.
Oh, wow. So you speak like all the languages.
I don't speak.
Okay.
I understand.
Understand, same.
Yeah.
Same.
And I can tell when my mom switches. I'm like, hey, I don't understand that one as much.
Yeah. Not as familiar.
I'm not as familiar. Yeah. But I could tell they wanted me to assimilate, obviously.
Yeah.
You guys understand. So I think they just started speaking in English more and then having like Tagalog every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad is from Pampanga, so like that's like a different language
Yeah.
that my mom didn't understand, so he would speak it to his mom, my grandma. So I had that, and I could not understand that at all. But Tagalog I could understand. I just couldn't speak it. And so like our other cousins that could speak it, my brother speaks it, like they shame you when you like don't know. I'm like, I'm trying to get through school. The people that speak English, like I could imagine like with like 3 languages, it's like hard. So
Well, on top of that, like I just think like in Southern California, Spanish is also like from kindergarten. So like I'm like, oh, zapatos is zapatos.
Yeah.
It's the same.
yeah.
So like that was helpful.
So helpful.
but then it's like, then that's another language I have
Right.
to learn.
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, they do shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I-
like also if you mispronounce it, and it's just like, then why should I even
Yeah, why
bother
am I
trying to
trying?
learn
Exactly.
if you're already making fun? I'm trying to make an effort here,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because I'm the same thing. Like I hear it fluently, but I can't speak it. Like I feel like I'm a child trying to speak when I try and spit out
Same.
a sentence.
Or I'll randomly have an accent that sounds like my mother.
yeah, it's like, wait, what did you say?
right. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I feel like, I don't know, I've always thought like Rosetta Stone or something like Duolingo would help, like something hearing, kind of like a podcast like this. Because I hear that a lot. Like if you've heard it a lot and then you like, kind of like Rosetta Stone, it's kind of easier to learn the language, which is like a goal of mine. Especially since my mom knows like 7 languages. And so she shames me even more. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
scholar.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's a nurse, so Spanish and then French and then a little bit of Italian. I'm like, show off.
Right.
That's the A++ she
That's
was
the
trying-
Oh, there you go.
A++ she
Yeah.
was waiting for.
But I get it, as a nurse, you need to know.
Yeah, you're gonna
like-
need that's
Totally.
so
Yeah.
so beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I think, I don't know if you guys get this. As growing up here, people think I'm Mexican, which is fine. I've
Well,
compliments
because your
it-
last name.
Yeah, and my
The
last name.
Yeah.
So like ambiguous. But then I get shamed where they're like, "Oh, you don't know Spanish?" I'm like,
You're like, hello.
"Hello, that's
Yeah.
not okay." So
Get shamed from all different directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what, you only speak one language?
exactly.
Yeah.
Shame
Yeah.
across the board.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I do remember in like high school, knowing Tagalog, it helped me through Spanish class.
Right.
Ace that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Quite easy, but
Mhm.
but you're right. Like the repetition, it's like you need to keep speaking it. So now, like anytime I do see my mom, I try and remind her, like, can you just speak in Tagalog? Because I
Mhm.
don't have that anymore now that I don't live with her. It's like, can you
Yeah.
use it more? And like, I hope my son can pick it up too, and I could remember how to pronounce things or build a sentence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tried with responding back, and she's like, "No, that doesn't make any sense."
Yeah.
I was like, "Does this go before that word? You know, the conjugation."
Yeah, the conjugation, exactly.
is where I
Yeah.
mess up all the time.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I was like, "There's so many ways you could say it, but like," she's like, "No, you said it wrong." I don't know if that's her just micromanaging how I speak, but like, yeah, I'm sure there's a conjugation that I missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does help when kind of like the K-drama things. It's nice that there's like Filipino like movies and dramas on Netflix. Like I remember we went over to your house and I was like, "What in the TFC are we watching?"
Yeah.
And then we all ended up on the couch being like, "This is this is tea."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My mom still watches that. Last time I hung
Right?
out with her, yeah, she's like, "Oh, I found this new movie on YouTube. Let's watch it." And I'm like, "Oh man."
It's on Netflix too, because my mom uses my Netflix account.
Oh, you can see what she's watching.
And like she's found all these Filipino movies, so when I get on there, it's like suggesting all these like Filipino movies. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh well, I guess I could. And
Yeah, I can
like
learn from that.
some of them look kind of steamy, like kind of like soap opera, like stuff. I'm
So
like,
dramatic.
"Mom."
So dramatic.
Yeah.
It is funny to go from like an American steamy show though to that. 'Cause it's like they don't get all the way like American where we're like, "Oh, we were so slutty."
Oh
Yeah.
we're
like,
going all the way.
conservative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very conservative.
Very conservative.
And then like if they're together, they only do movies together.
Mm.
So there's like
Oh,
couples that like they
yeah.
stan who do a bunch of movies together.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah.
Oh, I went
alright.
deep. I was trying to learn the language during the pandemic.
There you go.
My mom was like, "What are you watching?"
It's like, you should be proud I'm watching.
Right.
this.
Right. Exactly.
You should be
yeah.
watching with me, really.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How funny.
Yeah.
Do you want to pose a question to the audience? Like we're trying to do that now. Like
I guess with my episode, I think maybe opening the discussion of like other creatives who are first generation and how that impacted your relationship with your family, especially your parents, if they were accepting, if they were not, just things like that, their story.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
have that conversation.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that.
Love it. Leave us a
Cool.
comment. Hit us up.
Yeah.
DM us.
Monica, where can we find you?
Sure. So my handle is Have You Met Monica? Literally how you.
How you met Monica?
uh,
We
yeah.
met Monica today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
no,
did.
just you. It's like YOU. Have You Met Monica? I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Monica, for joining us today. So
Thank
much
you.
fun. And yeah, for our listeners out there, thank you so much for your support. And yeah, give us a follow. Subscribe to us on Spotify. Our Instagram is First Gen Podcast. We will list it here. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye. Bye.
Yay!